Genesis chapter 3. If you remember, we've been studying the prophet Elijah, who came to a point in his life that he thought he had enough, he wanted to die. We've done that now like 3 weeks. Elijah was at a point in his life where he said, there is no point in me being alive. I'm better off dead. And I made it clear to us that sometimes we feel like that too in our lives. We come to that point sometimes when things doesn't make sense. We just say, what's the point? But the truth is, Elijah got it all wrong. He thought he was the only prophet left. He thought the whole world is against him. He thought he was the only person that is serving God, but he was wrong. Because in the same city, there were 7,000 prophets like himself, but he didn't know. There were other 100 prophets hidden in a cave somewhere he didn't know. He thought he was the only one. And I spoke to us about putting on too much on ourselves. Sometimes we take too much responsibility. We take a lot of things that we shouldn't bother ourselves about. We put all these things on ourselves to the point where we snap. We just can't carry those burdens. So I told you last week and week before to minimize the burdens you carry. Minimize the responsibilities. I'm not saying we shouldn't be responsible, but you need to manage things. You need to not put too much pressure on yourself. A lot of people put too much pressure on themselves, and at the end of the day, they collapse. People nowadays will go and buy a car that they can't afford to impress people that doesn't care about them. People go into debt to buy a big car, to be able to prove to other people that they are successful. All these things will only put pressure on you. People want to live in a big mansion just to be able to prove that they are okay. But the financial toll that's going to be on them is going to drive them crazy anyway, eventually. So that's why I told you, don't put too much on. Manage what you put on yourself. Don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure, because these are the things that hurt people, that brings people to a point where they want to give up. And I also talk about managing your expectation. You are not in control of what happens in this world. You can only do your part. You can only raise your children. You cannot determine how they are going to turn out. That's an example. So you need to manage your expectation. Don't always expect everything is going to work out the way you expect them to work out, because you are not God. There are certain things that is in the limit of God. Only God can determine the outcome. You plant things in your garden. Yours is to plant. You can't make them grow. You can't. You can plant something today. It won't grow very well. You plant another one tomorrow. The one you plant after will probably grow better than the other one. You have no control over nature. So that's why you have to be careful about your expectation. A lot of people expect certain things to happen in a certain way, and when those things don't happen, you feel depressed, you feel tired, you feel disappointed. So my advice is, do what you can do. Do the best you can do. Put your best effort in and leave the rest for God to take care of. In parenting, in business, in anything you are doing, manage your expectation. Allow God to do his part. You can't do everything. When you try to do everything, you try or you expect, it's like playing the lotto, playing the lottery. Who goes around pricing a car because you played the lottery last week? You have not won anything. You can't borrow against lottery. Or say, okay, the Euro lottery now is 4 million, so I'm just going to go and borrow 500 pounds because I think I'm going to win it next week. You can't borrow against that, can you? So, and that's the way you look at life. You cannot, always expect things to work in a certain way. You let God do what God can do. When you put too much on yourself and you don't manage your expectation well, you are going to come to the same position that Elijah found himself, because he had too much expectation about life, about people, about what should happen. And I think that is very clear to us now. And we talk about Elijah isolating himself, and I want to talk about that again today. Isolation distorts reality. Elijah had 7,000 prophets, 7,101 prophets that he could associate with, but he wasn't doing that. He was just always on his own. He was trying to live life on his own. And what happened? He was depressed. He wasn't meeting other people. He wasn't in any community with other people. And let me tell you this, when you try to live life on your own, you're going to come to a point where you are going to be tired. And you are going to need someone to jumpstart you. It's just like the way you park your car for some time, the battery runs dry. Nothing is wrong with your car. Nothing is wrong with your battery. It just needs charges. And sometimes you need someone to come with a jump cable to put it on your battery and give you a jump, and the car is fine to drive. And life happens like that too. But when you are on your own, you do everything by yourself. You have no friends, you have no relative, you have no community, you have nobody you are talking to. You are going to have to deal with everything on your own. That makes life very hard. And that was one reason why Elijah found himself in that situation, because he was on his own. He was doing everything on his own. And that is not the way God wants us to live. And that is not the way the church is meant to function. Okay? So that's why I want us to look at the weakness of isolation. When you are isolated, you are weak. When you are on your own, no matter how strong you think you are, when you are on your own, you are vulnerable. You're vulnerable. When you are on your own, no one is checking on you. You are not checking on anyone. You are not talking to anyone. You might think you are strong, but you are not. You are not. So, we look at Genesis chapter 3. We read from verse 1. See, this is the story of when Adam and Eve were in the garden. Two of them, God put them in the garden of Eden. In the beginning, when God created heaven and the earth, a man and a woman, Adam and Eve, they were in the garden. But something happened. I don't know where Adam went. Eve was on his own. The wife was on his own. And Satan came. The serpent came. Like I said, when you are alone, you are weak. When you are alone, you are vulnerable. Our strength is in our unity, is in our community. Okay? So let's go back to Genesis now, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, that's Satan, speaking to the woman, as God said indeed, you shall not eat of the tree of the garden. Yep, go on. And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden, yep, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, you shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die. Then the serpent said to the woman, you will not surely die. For God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desirable to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate. She also gave her husband with her, and he ate. Yep. So the husband came after. When the conversation was going on, because God told them, you can eat of any tree in this garden, but this particular tree, you must not eat it. Don't touch it. It was forbidden. I don't know where the husband went. Probably going around golfing or in the pub somewhere drinking, I don't know. Satan came to tempt the wife. That's why I said when you are on your own, you are not strong. When you are living life on your own, when you are left alone to figure everything out on your own, that is not the time you are very strong. So we see now. So then both of them had the fruit because the wife was convinced, Somebody said it was apple. I don't think it was apple. Whatever it was, the wife ate it because Satan made her eat it. And when the husband came, the wife already sliced some fruits, gave to the husband. The husband also ate it. And both of them were in trouble. Now, the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves covering. And they heard the sound of the Lord God working in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. See what happened there? They were ashamed. Fear came into their lives. Nakedness came. From eating one fruit that they were told not to eat, they were exposed. They had to look for leaves to cover themselves. They were panicking. They were in distress. These are the things that wasn't happening in their life before. They were doing very well before, but the moment they heard what God told them not to eat, their life turned upside down. Okay? And the Lord God called to Adam and said to him, "Where are you?" They were hiding. These are the people that used to have fellowship with God in the evening. God will come down from heaven and I had chat with them. Imagine God coming down to have brew with you. And God came, they were already hidden. Something was wrong with them spiritually, mentally, emotionally. They became unstable. They ran from God. And God was looking for them. "Where are you?" And so he said, "I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself." Fear came, shame came. They were hiding themselves. These were the things that wasn't happening in their life before. I remember it all started with when the serpent came into the garden and met the wife alone. If both of them were there and the serpent came, maybe the husband would have said, "We don't want you here. Get out. We don't have time for this." But the enemy already studied when the husband was away, and the enemy came at the time when it was just the woman. I'm not saying women are weak. I'm just saying when we're on our own, sometimes we make wrong decisions. But if the two of you are together, if you are in a group, somebody can say, "I object to that. We shouldn't do it like that. Let's do it this way." There's going to be another opinion, and that's how life's supposed to function. All right? And God said to him, "Who told you that you are naked?" Because God is saying, where is this coming from? Who told you you are naked? Why are you afraid? Why are you living in fear? What is messing with your emotion? What is driving you crazy? Who told you that you are crazy? You are naked. Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you not to eat? God knew straight away they have done something stupid. Have you eaten of the tree that I warned you not to eat? Then the man said, "The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree and I ate." That's where blame game started shifting blame. The man said, "Oh, sorry, Lord, I didn't want to do it, but it was my wife's fault. She gave it to me to eat." God will be like, "Your wife gave you to eat. Didn't I warn both of you not to eat of the fruit? Let's go." And the Lord said to the woman, "What is this that you have done?" The woman said, "The serpent deceived me and I ate." You see the blame. So the husband blamed the wife blamed the serpent. And so the Lord now said to the serpent, "Say, because you have done this, you are cursed more than all the cattle and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you shall go, and you shall eat of the dust of all days of your life." God now began to give punishment. Now he said, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed, and it shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. Go on. And the woman, see what God said to the woman. "I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In your pain, you shall bring forth children." That's why when women want to have babies, it's always coming with pain. That was one of the punishments. He said, "Your sorrow and your conception, in pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." All right? What did he say to the man? And to the Adam, he said, "Because you have heeded the voice of your wife, you have eaten from the tree of which I've commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it. He said, cursed is the ground for your sake. In toil you shall eat all the days of your life." That's where hard labor comes from. That's where if you don't eat, if you don't work hard, you don't eat. That's where all the curses come from. Now, all these problems will have been avoided if the two of them were together. You get what I mean? If they were together, all this problem, this is how sin entered the world. The first disobedience to God came when The husband left the wife alone. And it's talking about unity, a community, people sticking together, not being left alone, not being made to live life on your own. We need support of each other. There are things I want to do. Sometimes my wife will tell me, you can't do that. And I will think twice about it. I say, all right. And there are things my wife wants to do. I will say, no, that's not right. You can't do that. You see, and that's how life is. You are not on your own to figure everything out on your own. Okay? So the power of community. I want us to go to Romans chapter 5, verse 12. By one man's sin, because of the sin of Adam and Eve, the whole world became sinner. Because of that single disobedience, the whole world became sinner. He said, therefore, just as through one man's sin entered the world, and death entered through sin, and thus death spread to all men because all sinned. Because of that simple mistake that that conversation that Eve had with Satan, with the serpent, just having a chat, because she was vulnerable. That's how the whole world became a sinful world. That's where all our problems started from, because the man left the woman alone and Satan came at the moment of weakness. If you look at Revelation 12, you will see who the serpent was. We know serpent is Satan. The Bible just used the word serpent for him. Revelation 12, verse 9. Revelation 12, verse 9. And so the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who deceived the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So you know what serpent means now. So you know it was the devil, it was Satan that persuaded that man to take the fruit that God said don't eat. So it was Satan. The serpent that spoke to Eve in the garden was Satan. And that wouldn't have happened if she wasn't left alone. Only God knows for how long she has been on her own. The Bible didn't tell us. Maybe Adam just decided to just ramble around in the garden and just left the woman on her own. And this is what happened when people are meant to stay together, but they refuse. So Satan took the advantage of her loneliness to wreak the havoc. So this is my point today. When we are alone, when we are lonely, we are weak. When we are lonely, we are vulnerable. When you're doing everything on your own, you are not that strong. That is why we need community. Elijah came to a point of suicide. He say, I want to die. I've had enough. I can't cope. I can't keep doing this, because he was alone. He had no company. He had no one to share his life with. Even though there were 7,000 other prophets like him, you could have gone to any of them. You could have gone to their meetings and have chat with them. He wasn't. So the challenge for us today in this modern day England is to make sure we plug ourselves into the right community. Don't do life on your own. Whatever you have to do, have people in your life. Loneliness is one of the plagues that is destroying this nation. Loneliness, people being on their own, single parenthood, all these things is causing problem. And we need to fix it. The church is not meant to be just a kind of a religious institution. The church is supposed to be a community. The church is supposed to be a place where you can draw strength from other people, where you can belong to and be strong. That is what the church is about. It's not just somebody preaching to you on Sunday and that's the end, you are gone. No, life continues. It's supposed to be a big family. That is what the church is supposed to be. And that is what we are trying to do in this place. Creating a community where no one is left alone, where no one is left behind, where everybody is being looked after in a community. We are all connected, looking after each other. That is what the church is supposed to be. And that's what we need. That's what our life needs. See, sometimes the enemy might want to tell you, you don't need to go to church. You don't need to go to any community group. You don't need to, just stay on your own. let me tell you, you are going to stay on your own, but it's going to drive you crazy. What will you be doing on your own? You need a community. You need other people. Even if it is smile, you know. I love Peter telling me music, when I come around him, telling me what happened in 1976. We all want that. I want John getting on my wife's nerve all the time, we need that community. We need that community. Because when you are on your own, when you are trying to do everything on your own, you are weak. That was the lesson from Elijah's life. He wasn't mixing with other people. The same thing happened to Jeremiah. I want us to go to Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 17. Jeremiah was also a prophet. The Bible even called him the weeping prophet. There is a whole chapter in the Bible called the Lamentation of Jeremiah. It's all about him crying. They call him the weeping prophet because he was always alone. He was doing everything on his own. Jeremiah 15:17. I did not sit in the assembly of mockers, nor did I rejoice. Can you imagine that? I didn't sit with people. I'm just on my own. I sat alone because of your hand, for you have filled me with indignation. Jeremiah was always alone. He was always alone. He was always doing everything. He doesn't meet with people. He doesn't relate with other people. He doesn't go to church. He doesn't go to any community gathering. Verse 18, what happened? He said, why is my pain perpetual and my wound incurable, which refuse to be healed? He said, will you surely be to me like an unreliable stream as waters that fail? That's Jeremiah complaining. He said, my pain is perpetual. When you're on your own, you are going through pain. You have no one to support you. You have no one to give you a brew. You can't live like that. Jeremiah was doing life on his own. He doesn't mix with people. He said, I don't mix with people. Sit on my own in my own house and watch my CNN and BBC. You are going to be depressed. He said, why is my pain perpetual and my wound incurable? Because you're on your own. Because you are not mixing with people. You are not getting help. You are not getting support. So a Christian life is a life where you mix with other people. You are not living on your own. You are not carrying all the burden on your own. You are getting the support that you need. This is very important. All right? Jeremiah had no community. He had no group. He had no church. He had nobody to share his grief. And he said his pain remained perpetual. Wound became incurable. He even thought God was unreliable. He thought God left him. He said God feel like a water that fails. It's like when you open the tap, you want to make a brew, you open the tap and nothing is coming out. You know how that feels. He said that was how he felt. His life was like that. You see, we need the community. We need other people's support in our life. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 4. So my challenge for us today is we need to plant ourselves in a community, particularly a community of faith like this, where no one is judging you, no one is looking at your past. I always say it in this place, no matter who you are, no matter where you have been, no matter what you have done, no matter what has been done to you, you will always find God here. God is not judging you, and we are not judging you either. You see, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 4 from verse 9. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 from verse 9. What does the Bible say here? It says, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. When two people walk together in a garden, or cutting the grass, two people walking together, it said two are better than one because they will have good reward for their labor. Say, for if they fail, one will lift up his companion. See, when you are two people, someone is not feeling well, the other one is going to help him up. You are not alone. And that's the challenge in this country today. This individualistic life and personal life that we are living, you have a neighbor, you don't even talk. Can you imagine in this country, you can have a neighbor living beside you, and for 5 years, you don't even talk to each other. No hi, no hello, no good morning, no how are you, nothing. That's why it's possible for people to die in their home, and nobody knows they have died. Maybe somebody after a few days realize the bin is not being collected, or the phone company realize. I've read different stories of people, old people, dying in their homes and nobody know they have died. All right? He said, if they fall, if somebody fall, either you fall sick, he said, one will lift up his companion. He said, but woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. Put the other fashion. Go back. Give me this fashion in the other fashion that we have. You have it? Ecclesiastes. It is better to have a partner than go it alone. Share the work, share the wealth. If one falls down, the other helps. But if there is no help, it is tough. Life is tough if there is no help. All right? And the next one, two in a bed warm each other alone. When you are alone, you shiver all night. It's simple, isn't it? And you have people to cuddle. You feel warm. When you're on your own, just rolling under your duvet. It's just simple analogy. Life is meant to be shared. We need community. This country, we need community. We need people in our lives. We can't just say, I'm going to be on my own. I don't want anybody helping me. I don't want anyone talking to me. You want somebody to say hello. You want people to be able to say, I've not seen Wilma in the last 2 days. How is she doing? We need people like that in our lives. We need to be checking up on each other. All right? And this is very important. That's what the church is about. But unfortunately, the community, the society have changed. Even churches have changed. You have large churches where people sit beside each other. They don't even know each other. They don't even talk to each other. I know that. People go to church. Nobody cares about anybody. They do the Bible reading. They do the hymn. That's it. You go home. That's all. Maybe you go for your confession next week. Nobody knows what is going wrong in your life. That is not the way church is supposed to be. How can you be in the midst of hundreds of people and you still feel lonely? That's not the way God wants us to live our life. That's not the way the church is supposed to be. The church is supposed to be a family, supposed to be a community where everybody knows what is going on in everybody's life. We support each other. We are there for each other. That is what we are trying to do in this place. We want to build a community where nobody is standing alone, where nobody is meant to suffer alone. We support one another. We are there for one another because we all need it. I need people checking on me to know how I am doing. Very important. Just a phone call. How are you, Reverend? How are you today? Means a lot to me too. We all need company. We all need somebody checking on us. We are not meant to live a life alone. So I encourage every one of us to be plugged into community. Go out, go to the park. Don't stay home alone. Have friends. Bill goes to allotments, with other people, which is very good. I encourage people to come here Saturday evening for coffee. Let's all. Yeah, Bill goes everywhere, I know. We all need that. And Peter always go to his car boot. Isn't that right, Peter? Yeah, you have to go out, That's right, yeah. It's not just even having a look, it's having a chat, talking to people. Yeah, we all need that. Our life needs that. This is a priority, all right? Let's look at Acts chapter 4. Let's look at the first century church. Acts chapter 4, verse 32. Acts 4:32. What does the Bible say? It says, now the multitude of those who believed were of one heart and one soul. You see, the people who believe, they have one heart and one soul. Neither did anyone say that any of the things he possessed was his own, but they all had all things in common. That is community. When one person have coffee, you share them with other people that doesn't have. You look after everyone. You look after each other. When you have tea, you share with people who doesn't have. That is how life was in the first century church, in the Act of Apostles. Everybody look after each other. Nobody is left to suffer. Nobody is left to be on their own. Okay? They do everything together. Let's go to 1 John chapter 3. I'm just showing you these scriptures. You see how God wants us to live as Christians. 1 John chapter 3, 1 John 3:17. But whoever has these words good and sees his brother in need and shut up his heart from him, how does the love of God abide in you? He's saying, if you have money, you have food, you have everything, and you see your brother is in need and you don't care. So where is the love of God in you? You see, the love of God makes us share life with other people, support other people, listen to other people. You share the little that you have. You think about other people. You're thinking about yourself now. Because we live in a community, society that's all about me, myself, and I. The food I have is for me, is for myself, is for I. God doesn't want us to live like that. He wants us to remember other people. Go back to that verse. You see? He said, whoever has these words good, you have the food, you have those little things, and you see your brother, a fellow Christian, is in need, and you say, I don't care. It's none of my business. He's saying, where is the love of God in your heart? The love of God is us to share life with other people, to support each other, to care about others. You know, that's why I always talk to Peter. I said, you are doing the right thing. When you look after your family, you look after people that need something, you are doing the right thing. You know, sometimes you think maybe you are not doing the right thing. You are doing the right thing. Because that's how God wants us to live. He wants us to show love, the love of God in our heart. He wants us to show it to other people. And that's how we are meant to live a Christian life. And before Jesus Christ left this world, he prayed a prayer to God. We always say the Lord's Prayer, all right? That is a template prayer. But if you really want to know the Lord's Prayer, it's in John chapter 17. That was where Jesus Christ asked God. He said, my Father, this is what I want you to do for these people. You know. Now let's look at that. John chapter 17. See, it's another Lord's Prayer. John 17, verse 21. John 17. John 17, 21. He said, that they may all be one, as you, Father, and I in me, and I in you, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that you sent me. He said, I want these people to be one. Jesus Christ was praying for the unity of the church. He said, I want these people to be one. I want them to love each other. I want them to be united. I don't want them to be isolated. And that is the way God wants us to live. So if Elijah had gotten a company, other people in his area doing the same thing with him, maybe he wouldn't have come to a point where he wanted to die. If he had a company. You know, if Elijah had 5 other prophets that came to see him in the evening before having coffee together, he may have told them, I'm not feeling really well nowadays. I'm feeling detached. I don't know what is wrong with me. They will have prayed for him. They will have said, they will have said, okay, let's go on holiday together. Let's go play some golf. They will have said, okay, let's go to the shop. Let's go to the park together. But he was just on his own. And his mental health was declining. He had no one. And that is what happened. When you are on your own, you are trying to figure everything out on your own. It is tiring. You know, it weakens you. Okay? And it's very important that we realize that is not the way God wants us to live. God wants us to be together, support each other, challenge each other, encourage each other. Because sometimes this life can be very hard. It can be tough. You need each other's support. Okay? So, and that is what the church is about. Everybody needs some encouragement. Everybody needs a pat in the back. Everybody needs somebody to just tell them everything will be all right. Don't give up. Sometimes that is all we need. Somebody to acknowledge what we are doing, to tell you you are doing the right thing. Keep doing what you are doing. Don't give up. We need that sometimes. Yeah. You know, and sometimes that's all we need. Someone to recognize your effort. Someone to tell you, you are going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. You are not alone. But if you don't get people saying that to you, sometimes you are tired. All right? It's like the grandmother recipe, how you cook in a certain way. You learn that from somewhere. It passed down to you, and that's life. You are alive with other people. You are not trying to figure everything out on your own. Because the Bible even says, let the older women teach the younger women how to be good wives, how to run their homes. Because nowadays, young people get married. I've seen weddings that last 6 hours. They finished the wedding, they were going to reception, and they had some argument in the car, and that's the end. They said, I'm done. The family that flew to the wedding, they have not even paid the credit card bill, for the flight, and the wedding is already over. But older people like Barbara, can teach 25-year-old new wives how to be submissive, how to look after your home. Wilma can share experience. People like yourself, older generation can instruct the new generation. That's the power of community. That's the power of community. People need other people to share knowledge, to pass things down to them. Knowledge, strength. All right? But when you're on your own, you are trying to figure everything out on your own, is hard. It is hard. Okay? It is very hard. Let me tell you this. I don't know how to operate washing machine for a long time because my wife always do the laundry. She always do it. I remember calling from Africa. How do I operate this? I had to get the same washing machine that we use here for our home in Africa. So I can ask, it's going to tell me the right button, Otherwise, we have to start taking pictures and making video. So it's like that. She knows how to. Yeah. Women know how to do all those things. Sometimes men, we are not that stupid, but sometimes we just can't figure it out. He did everything, And they are our better halves. They know when something is wrong with us. They know to tell us to take things easy. But when you're on your own, you're just grinding and grinding until you have no energy left. All right? So we need the community in the homes, marriages, children need people to guide them. Why do we have children setting, you hear things like antisocial behavior. It just doesn't make any sense. In our vocabulary in Africa, there is nothing like antisocial behavior. We don't have that. Because you have to behave, otherwise you're going to get spanked. Not only that, you get kicked in the backside. People behave. We have parents that raise their children. But now we have children raising themselves in this country. Yeah, you're right. Kids raising their parents. And it's becoming generational now. Generational poverty is going on. It's getting worse. And that's why we need to wake up, build strong communities, bring strong institutions, bring legislations that makes this country strong, not weak. This is the nation that used to colonize almost every part of the world. Now we can't even defend ourselves. Can't even manage our border. They won't allow prayers in the school. No prayers in the school. No Bible reading in the school. But we have Bible in the prison rooms now. They have put Bible in the prison. If you let the children read Bible in the class, in the school, you teach them a little bit of moral, they won't probably have to end up in the jail. Anyway, the church has a lot of work to do. I remember growing up, when I do something stupid, like every other kids will want to do, the next door neighbor will have beaten that stupidity out of you with cane before your parent arrives. So your parents will just find out from them if you need extra beating. Then the neighbor will say, oh, it's all right, it's had enough. But now, you can't even tell off kids now. Neighbors' children say, oh, what you are doing is wrong. The parents are going to come and tell, who gives you the right to talk to my child like that? That's what's going on. Like Michaela said, Even now, children are parenting their parents. You see, it's gone upside down. I've seen a lady that told me, he said, my mom is always drunk, on drug. I have to look after her, look after the children, my siblings. That's not life. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And that's the part of this society deteriorating. All right, in closing, I want us to go to Hebrews chapter 10. Hebrews chapter 10. We all understand the importance of being in a community, not being alone, looking after each other. It's very important. That's how God wants us to live. That's the format, the early church, Hebrews 10:25. The early church, they were always together. And I am challenging you today, don't allow yourself to be put in a place where you are sitting on your own. Try to plug. Yeah. 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 That's right. That's right. Oh, absolutely. That's correct. That's correct. Hebrews 10:25. Say, not forsaking the assemblies of ourselves together, as it is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much more as you see the day approaching. Give me the other version. We are living in the end of the world, the end of the age. The Bible says, so let's do it, full of belief, confident that we are presentable inside and out. Let's keep a firm grip on the promises that kept us going. We always keep his word. Let's see how inventive we can be in encouraging love and helping out, not avoiding worshiping together as some do, but spurring each other on, especially as we see the big day approaching. The Bible is saying now we need to make sure we are always in fellowship, we are always in community. The day is approaching. The end of this world is coming. This world is coming to an end. It's not going to keep going like this. All right? And the Bible is supporting each other, encouraging as we see it. It says some people, it's their manner. They want to be isolated. They don't want to mix with other people. But we can't do that. Christians should not do that. Christians should look after each other. Christians should stick together in fellowship, together, share life together, cry together if possible. Someone is crying, you just support them. The Bible says, weep with them that weep, rejoice with them that rejoice. Celebrate together. Someone is going through tough time, face it together. We as Christians are not trained, or we are not encouraged by the Bible to do things. We are meant to do things together. Find a fellowship, find a group we enforced and encouraged. And that is what we do in this church. We want everybody to be together, support each other. We don't want to be like Elijah, who has 7,000 people that could give him support, but he just kept doing everything on his own. When you are on your own, you are weak. When you are on your own, when you are isolated, you are not that strong. It's easy. In Africa, we kill snakes, like poisonous snakes. If you see one, it's easy. Get a big stick, whack them, kill them. But if 20 snakes come from different directions, you are going to run. You are not even going to make any attempt to kill one of them. And that is the power of unity. When people are together, they are strong. They are not alone. All right? And that is the way God wants us to live Christian lives. Sometimes we are down. We are not very happy. We just want to encourage us. It's like I gave you the example of the car analogy. You wake up in the morning in winter, your car won't start. Nothing was wrong with the car. It just needs a jump. And sometimes that is all we need. That encouragement, that support. And we can always get it in the church if we belong to a good church. Some church has become an institution now, It's just like a religion. You go to the church, the reverend speak, just watch him speak, no interaction, nobody talk to anybody, nobody know what is going on in other people's life, nobody support each other. That's not church. You can even have a better experience if you go to the park than going to churches like that, where it's all performance. Somebody just perform for you, and yours is just to say amen and go home. No, here we support each other. We are there for each other. That's how it's supposed to be. Okay?